Okay, so let's go ahead and review the process for entering your note one last time into Clinic Tracker. We'll review everything from how to get to your note to everything to, what it is that we're looking for. So I'm going to open my Clinic Tracker and I'm going to get to my note by clicking on Client, Patient Contacts. And I did a note for Joe Doe. It'll ask you if you want to review the authorization history, and we go over that in another training, but for right now, we'll say no. Okay. Notice I'm going to fill in the service. I'm going to fill in showed up. I'll even put myself as the person that did the note, or I'll use Joe's name for now. The program, what's day treatment for this example. If you have whatever your supervisor, if you're in day treatment, you will put your program director. If you're intensive in-home, then you will put in your team leader. So for now, I'll put Dr. Granacha as he's our clinical director. Over here, I'll just click this little round away thing. What it does, it automatically loads the most recent diagnoses. It was a face-to-face note. I put it in the payer itself, but it'll automatically tell you who the payer is, and you'll select that. The place of service, was it in the home? Was it in the community? Was it at the main building? So I'll say main building. I'm going to change the note to say it was from 7 to 9. Because like we said, we do not do half-hour increments. So I'm going to open up my note. What you'll notice within this note is that I talk about how the day commenced. Now, prior to doing this, I looked up a cognitive behavior therapy worksheet, and I incorporated that into my day's session along with the journaling activity. So you'll notice I started my note off with saying, today's day treatment session commenced with QP, greeting the consumer. We're introducing, in this particular session right now, how the session started off. To review the progress made at school. Consumer indicated they didn't have a good day at school. They got kicked out of class for arguing. Staff followed up by engaging the consumer in a discussion to review the situation that took place and to assist them with understanding how the conflict could have been avoided, in so many words. So in this case right here, we're saying you did the introduction of how your day started. You said what the client did, and you're constantly reverting back to what your intervention was. Okay? Subsequent to this discussion, AP initiated a journal activity from the Positive Action Curriculum Guide, which is our evidence-based treatment, our specific modality that we use in day treatment. We use it a little in intensive in-home as well. But notice the purpose of what I'm going over is that I've specified what the activity was. Okay? The topic of today's activity was, who am I? The purpose. Once again, after you put the activity, you want to tell the purpose of the activity of this journal was to assist the client in identifying triggers for their actions. Okay? The consumer was initially hesitant in participating in this activity, and staff intervened. So once you put the client's response, you want to tell, how did you intervene to that response? For instance, you would never put it that Billy made statements of self-harm, and after that, the next activity was, okay, you would never leave an activity off like that. It's like a cliffhanger. So you always want to tell what you did to follow up to the client's response. Okay? So we're talking about the journaling activity, and we're saying here the consumer indicated within the journal that the trigger for her action was when people, quote, got in her face. We love using specifics. It shows it's not a cookie cutter note. You don't want to do too much dialogue, but you just want to tell what's relevant about the dialogue. And once again, we're talking about our follow-up intervention. Staff provided the alternative actions that consumers should utilize in the future that will result in her getting the desired results. ... As the day progressed, consumer became engaged in peer discussion activities that reviewed ... So this is just an overview of what we're looking for in our note. You'll notice I separate my note for the first part of the day, for the second part of the day. Once again, I quoted what my activity was. We used the ABC activating thoughts, understanding beliefs, and considering consequences. I literally just Googled a worksheet to utilize. The purpose of this training was ... You telling the purpose, consumer responded ... And you intervene to that response by, and that's literally how your note goes. You'll end your note with telling what you did at the end of the day, how many points they got, whenever you're giving them points, you want to make sure you're implementing the behavior points scale. This is why you gave them the points, and that is the end of the note. One other thing that I want to make sure, this is the intervention, right? So the next part that you want to click on will be your problem. And when you pick the problem, you want to make sure that you're picking from treatment plan. So you're choosing the most recent treatment plan goal. So I'm going to click on pick from treatment plan. I'll choose this one, right? And so now I have the most recent goal from the treatment plan. They call it goals. We call it objectives. I'm sorry, we call them goals. They call it objective and clinic tracker. So that's why we don't put anything in this box up here for the goal, right? You're going to talk about the progress. And this is a part of the E for evaluation. They made some progress today, right? I'm sorry, this is actually the progress for the goal. We want to talk about the progress for the objective. So they made some progress. And we're going to talk about why. Joe was able to maintain his attention span throughout the day for longer periods of time than before. He was given a rating of 1 because there still exists additional time needed to ensure that ... And so that is pretty much what your note is. Once you're done with your note, you want to click on sign, and it'll go to your supervisor. If there are any additional notes or any additional treatment plan notes, emergency CFT needs to be scheduled as a result of today's session, you need to put that down here in additional treatment plan notes. Okay? You'll save your note. It'll give you it'll give you the spelling check error. You want to make sure that you're going through that, and that's how you put in your note.